Bitcoin dumped over 50% from its all-time high after dropping below $60,000 late last night. Michael Saylor and Tom Lee are collectively down over $15 billion. But in today's video, I want to discuss the possibility of a local bottom. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right, so as you can see, we dropped to literally below $60,000, leaving a massive wick to the downside. There are some signs of bottoming out, at least locally. First and foremost, an aggressive move up from here of over $7,000 is not insignificant. It is definitely something that you need to consider. That being said, we've had these moves before where we drop below a certain level, then we get a bounce of $7,000 only to roll over once more. There's a couple of conflicting signs in the market, but from a probability perspective, I do think that we are now trying to form a local bottom before price can get a little bit of a relief rally and then ultimately roll over later in the year. Let's see how it plays out. As you know, if you've been watching the channel, I have been giga short since $97,000. I actually took some more profits out of my most recent short at around 63K on my live stream yesterday. And you can see that I will likely continue to hold on to this massive short position because ultimately I do think that Bitcoin can move lower. But you also need to understand my stop loss is now at break even, so I am not risking any capital on this trade. This was probably my best ever short in this market, going very aggressive at $97,000, and the results do speak for themselves. By the way, if you want access to all of my own personal trades, DM me the keyword 2026 on Telegram, and I would be more than happy to onboard you into my group where I share all of my trades, win or lose. Also, please remember that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing that I discuss on the channel should be construed as financial advice. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing all of his own crypto insights and his overall market analysis. Now, back to the chart. We're currently sitting at $67,000. This is actually, for the first time in a while, a decent bounce. I would actually be looking to potentially go long on a retrace of this bounce because there are some signs that in the immediate short term after this video is published, maybe Bitcoin can drop a tiny bit. The reason I say this, BlackRock did deposit another 4,248 Bitcoins and 5,700 Ethereum to Coinbase Prime, presumably for selling. We covered this in yesterday's video, and as soon as my video went live, Bitcoin started dumping once more. Let's see how the price action develops, but right now, the next trade that I will probably take in this market will be another attempt at a long, but please remember I am still giga short here and I will continue to hold this swing short because it just makes sense now given my pretty epic entry. Now let's go over the stock market. Look, if the stock market dumps even remotely close to like 10%, things will not be looking good for Bitcoin. We have to understand that. If we drop below this bull market support band, the reality is Bitcoin can move much, much lower. Some of you were asking me what my bear market bottom price target for Bitcoin would be. Ultimately, I don't think it's unrealistic to say that we will find our way somewhere below $50,000 this bear market. That might sound absolutely insane to some of you, but you can see just how aggressive the price action can really develop. Now, it's very, very important that you don't try to time the perfect bottom. Of course, you can try it, but the idea is if you actually want Bitcoin exposure for the next bull market, you want to slowly dollar cost average as the price is headed lower. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you exactly what I will be doing. So the moment that Bitcoin actually drops below $60,000 a little bit more convincingly, and it's not just a wick, I will actually allocate a little bit of my cash position to slowly buy Bitcoin. Then the lower we go, the more I will buy. Anyone that claims with 100% certainty that they will catch the perfect bottom is, as I always say, full of crap. If you can catch it, fantastic. Ideally, you buy much more near those lows. This way you can experience a beautiful run up and you'll be in significant profits on the way up. Not financial advice, of course. So what I want you to understand here is from a trading perspective, I am looking to go long on a couple of different cryptocurrencies, but I need to see Bitcoin give me a better opportunity. Like, for example, if Bitcoin just goes ahead and decides to just get a nice move to the upside here and we just get a big pump to like $72,000, I'm probably not going to just jump into a long because we've seen how this price action develops and it could easily just roll over once more. I think that this local bottom is trying to be formed. There's a couple of indicators here. First and foremost, the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map. You can see that on the 1 year time frame. I mean, yes, a couple of longs piled in yesterday after we had that massive capitulation wick, but it's insignificant compared to the shorts in this market. Around 720 million worth of cumulative long liquidation leverage, and all the way to the right here, around 29 billion worth of cumulative short liquidation leverage. So if we do get a more aggressive move to the upside, this is fuel ideally to target this massive cluster around $75,000. As I said, my next trade will probably be a long, but I'm in no rush to enter. I want to see how the price action develops, and I am very, very comfy in my short. So here's the other thing you need to consider. The Coinbase Premium Index got another massive move down, only to immediately retrace here. And if this can continue and we can actually get a little bit of green, then naturally Bitcoin can continue its rally off the lows. I know it might sound silly, but guys, we're already up over $7,000 from that 59K level. I didn't enter a long, I'm just being fully transparent here, but it's still a decent bounce if you were up at that time. The only problem with that bounce is it didn't really tap into a major level. I was actually eyeing around $58,000 for the next logical level, and the reason being it coincides perfectly with that 200-week moving average. But you can see we came within inches of this level, ultimately front running it. So if I get an opportunity to perhaps execute along here, then I will likely take it, and it will of course be shared in my community first before I hop on the YouTube channel and present this information. Remember, if you want to join and see how I am personally trading this market, you do have the first link in my description down below. DM me the keyword 2026 and I'd be more than happy to onboard you. Let's take a look at the Bitcoin spot ETFs. Yesterday, we got around $500 million worth of outflows, similar to the day before, and let's see if this will continue. Maybe we get a bit of buying after tapping into those lows at $59,000. I want you to also understand that considering Microstrategy, a lot of people have been completely freaking out about the fact that Bitcoin is currently sitting $10,000 below their average price of around $76,000, their average accumulation price, that is. And they actually came out in a meeting and said that they're not really at that much risk. Let's hear what they had to say.
Bitcoin needs to go down to $8,000 a coin and sit there for 5 years up until 2032 before we really have a problem being able to satisfy the convertible note. So
you heard that. So Bitcoin has to sit at around $8,000 for a 5-year period. These guys are fine. The way that they've structured themselves, they are supposedly fine. Now let's talk about Tom Lee as well while we're at it. We know that collectively, Michael Saylor and Tom Lee are down around $15 billion, which is absolutely insane. But Tom Lee gets paid regardless. Here's his current compensation structure. I thought it'd be very interesting to share with you. So the cash portion is split into guaranteed and at-risk buckets over a 5-year period. Guaranteed cash, $35 million. Regardless of company performance, Mr. Lee is entitled to upfront payment of $15 million paid immediately upon approval, annual retainer salary of $5 million per year for 4 years. Purpose, these payments are intended to recognize value already created and to ensure leadership continuity. Performance bonuses, $60 million. This is the at-risk portion. He can earn up to $60 million extra, but it is conditional. Structure, $15 million per year for 4 years, fiscal years of 2027 to 2030. The payout is binary, meaning he receives $0 if the target is missed by any amount. There is no partial payout. The targets are revenue hurdles. By 2027, he has to hit 200 million in revenue. By 2028, 300 million, 2029, 400 million, and 2030, $500 million in revenue. Equity compensation structure, 6 million shares. The equity package is designed to align his wealth with the stock price and the company's treasury strategy, so holding Ethereum. Then we have time-based RSUs and performance-based PSUs, and you can see how much this guy can earn. I mean, he's already guaranteed $35 million. This is absolutely insane, especially if you're considering the fact that they are currently down $8 billion on their investment. Sign me up for that job. Absolutely crazy stuff. And the last couple of things I wanted to go over. Michael Saylor's strategy will actually initiate a Bitcoin security program coordinating with global cybersecurity and crypto communities to address quantum computing threats. So that's at least a positive sign here. And aside from the liquidity and the fact that Bitcoin is already up around $7,000 from the lows, what else suggests that the bottom could be in for now at least? Ben Cowan just posted this. In 2018, this is the day Bitcoin found a low at just below 6K. That low more or less held until Q4. Let's see what Bitcoin does here. Could we be repeating just 10x higher because Bitcoin dropped right below $60,000? It is a possibility, guys. But remember, even though we can get some price action above the current level and we get some bounces here across the entire market, because yes, Bitcoin dominance has actually gone down on this dump. So this means that if we do get a bit of a pump, maybe altcoins can outperform from a trading perspective. I would not be spot holding altcoins, to be perfectly clear. Well, maybe Bitcoin can go ahead and chop, and then we will ultimately roll over, because my base case is still the fact that Bitcoin will be moving lower into this bear market, and we're probably going to tap into these wick lows at the minimum at around $49,000. But it's not that far-fetched because, we tapped into literally 59K for Bitcoin, and this came much sooner than even I would have anticipated. So while I am in the short, and I do stand to benefit if Bitcoin does continue to move lower, I really just want to buy Bitcoin at a discount. So base case here, we're seeing a bit of a bounce, $7,000, $8,000 thus far. If we can get a little bit of a retrace on these shorter time frames, I may look to enter a new long in this market, and it might not actually be on Bitcoin. It might be on some stronger alts from a trading perspective, that is. Otherwise, I do think that Bitcoin will be moving lower regardless of where this hypothetical bounce is to take us. So I hope I've made myself extremely clear. Also, even if you're not that much of a trader, you want to learn about trading, or you want to understand how I will be navigating in terms of my spot portfolio, you do have the first link in my description down below. DM me the keyword 2026. More than happy to onboard you into my group where I share all of my own personal trades. And let's see, was there anything else that I wanted to cover here? So these guys down $15 billion. Okay, this is something else that was discussed by Ben Cowan. I thought I'd bring to your attention the Bitcoin percentage of supply and profit and loss. In bear markets, typically we bottom when these two levels cross. And so we are getting pretty damn close here. Now, it doesn't mean that as soon as these two lines meet, okay, the bottom is confirmed, but what it does mean is that the bottom is formed once these two lines meet. So this does also suggest that there could be some more drawdown, and while Bitcoin can have a bounce, my base case is that $59,000, for example, is most certainly not the bear market lows. And that sums up today's quick video. Late last night, Bitcoin dropped to below $60,000. Michael Saylor and Tom Lee down collectively over $15 billion. But we are starting to see signs of the local bottom being in. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I do have my bluff and leveraging tutorial right here, and I'll see you in the next video.